Digimon Beatbreak entered its new arc, the Tactics arc, this week, introducing a whole host of brand new characters, including fully fleshing out the 5 stars belonging to the World Union, and introducing the Tactics Team 7. I did a whole character breakdown on them last year, feels weird to say that. However, this first episode, showing us their partner Digimon, has really settled into the fact that we are about to see a brand new era and a bunch of new Digimon for Digimon Beatbreak, and the franchise as a whole. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX. Happy New Year, welcome back. But you know, if you're feeling a roaring mad pulse, it's howling like it's all you've got, you might want to listen to some music or podcasts with today's sponsor, Raycon. And yes, this message is sponsored by Raycon. Now that the holidays are over, it's the perfect time to upgrade your gear for the new year. If you're getting back into a fitness routine or training more consistently, audio that actually works while you move makes a huge difference. And as some of you have noticed, I have been trying to improve my fitness again in the past year or so, and I've been using Raycon's essential open earbuds to help me with that process. They don't block out all the sound like you get with traditional earbuds, meaning you still get amazing clarity and fully hear what you're listening to. In my case, it's usually podcasts or YouTube videos, but you're still aware of all your surroundings. Train announcements, people saying, "Hey, Karn," in the street. I'm not rudely ignoring people or missing key information, but I get to still enjoy what I'm listening to. And right now, Raycon is ringing in the new year with a sale, so it's the perfect time to grab them. Regular earbuds block out everything. You can't hear someone calling your name, a car honking, anything. These Raycon ones sit just outside your ear canal, so you get a really clear sound, but you can actually hear what's happening around you too. That awareness is perfect for tracking your fitness resolution safely. They're really light and the ear hook part rotates, so they actually stay in. I've worn them on walks, doing stuff around the house, etc. They don't fall out and don't get uncomfortable. And Raycon has over 3 million customers, and the sound quality is just as good as the way more expensive brands. They're half the price because they're not paying for celebrity endorsements and all that retail markup stuff. And if you don't like them, they have a 30-day guarantee. These are now my go-to earbuds throughout daily use because I can hear what's going on around me without sacrificing audio quality. Honestly, they just become part of my daily routine. The essential open earbuds are here to help you crush your New Year goals. So go to buyraycon.com/KarnEX open to get 20% off site-wide. And thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. So yes, Digimon Beatbreak's Tactics arc kicked off this week with the introduction of our brand new characters. Like I say, I did a video going over all of these new characters, so you can go check them out. But honestly, what's more interesting to me right now is their partner Digimon. We found out explicitly who the 5 stars, the kind of upper cleaners, the ones working directly for the World Union, are. A Flaremon, a Marine Chimeramon, a Lilamon, a Proganomon, and of course a Gokumon. And this is all really interesting to me. Each of them, of course, matching their 5-star members' element: fire, water, wood, earth, and gold or metal. But moving over to the Tactics team, they are partnered with a Monodramon, a Syakomon, a Ludomon, and a Gigasmon, which we found out the other day. An interesting crop of characters, but what's most interesting to me is that in the preview for the next episode, and in a blink and you'll miss it moment, it looks like we're getting a brand new Monodramon evolution in this anime. If we look at the ED for Digimon Beatbreak, at one point at the start, when Gakomon is walking down the city highway, we see something flying in the top. But that's not an existing Digimon. It looked similar to existing Digimon, like there's a bit of Airdramon going on there, but this doesn't match anything. This is a brand new Digimon. Then when we get the next time preview for the next episode, we see a better shot of this Digimon, and a lot of it lines up with Monodramon. You can see the kind of 3 spikes that Monodramon has on either side of its head, lining up kind of well to the more hair-like patterns that this new Digimon has. In addition to this, we can see that it does have winged arms that protrude in a very similar way to Monodramon. And when we look at the screenshot from the ED, well, yeah, it's a little bit small and hard to see. The colors do match up with Monodramon and even some of the markings. In fact, if we compare it to Strike-Dramon, the kind of OG Monodramon evolution, there's a lot that lines up, especially that red hair and purple coloration. This is fascinating to me because I think it implies that we are going to see new evolutions for these Digimon, which I think is a really fun idea and very Digimon Liberator-esque, which makes a lot of sense when you consider that one of the new 5-star members has a Digimon from Digimon Liberator, Proganomon, which only debuted in 2024. Now, it's fairly likely that this will just digivolve to Pyramidamon because it's an anime debut. I'm not as confident that the 5 stars will all get brand new evolutions for a couple of reasons. First of all, this season has a ton of connection to Shambhala. Kugamon and Murasamemon reference the Eastern digital world in their reference book listings. The 5 stars are a kind of inherently Chinese mythology thing. Shambhala connects to Chinese and Japanese mythology. And yes, we have Gokumon, who appeared in episode 1 and we now know is partnered with Genjo. Gokumon in the Pendulum 6 and 7, just got a brand new evolution in Seiten Gokumon. I'm going to talk about this more in a video on Sunday, but Digimon Creative is acknowledging the brand synergy that they're finally doing that we've asked for so long. And it was really up in the air which piece of media would debut Shambhala first, but it was decided that it would be the Pendulum Colors. So I don't think Gokumon is going to get yet another evolution in this season. I just think we're going to get the anime debut of Seiten Gokumon, which for the evolution of the golden 5-star makes a lot of sense. This is why I also think it's pretty likely that Proganomon's going to become either Pyramidamon or Magnetic Dramon. I would probably put more likelihood on Pyramidamon just because of the whole kind of earth theme of clay, though Magnetic Dramon works fine. And then Lilamon as the partner of Rose Woodville. I don't know, man. I just think it would be crazy if she doesn't get a Rosemon, and Rosemon did digivolve from Lilamon in Data Squad, which, as I remind you again, the producer of this series was also a creative on Data Squad, so I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see the 5 stars get brand new evolutions just yet. I think the thing that we're going to see most likely for Kaito's Flaremon is that it becomes Apollomon Whispered Mode. I think that'd be a cool thing to return from Cross Wars, but who knows. But to the Tactics team, like I say, Raito's Monodramon definitely digivolving into a new form. Whether that also means a new Ultimate or Mega, I don't know truly. It could go either way, and I do think there is longevity in adding a whole new line for these Digimon, which is incredibly Digimon Liberator-esque. Looking at Digimon Liberator, we have Digimon like Sangomon, which digivolves into Shellmon and then gets 2 new evolutions in Marine Bullmon, which also showed up in Digimon Beatbreak, and Ryugumon, the evolution of Marine Bullmon, which, oh yes, is a Shambhala Digimon. And there's also Ariamon, which is on those pendulums too. With Hotaruko having a Shakomon, could this get a new evolution line? Will it be a brand new set of evolutions? I think it's quite likely that each of them at least gets a new champion, which then leads into an existing Ultimate or Mega, but I do think a full evolution line is very likely. The one that's really the most interesting to me that we haven't seen yet in the show, we did see Naito at the end, is Gigasmon. Gigasmon is a frontier spirit, meaning that it doesn't usually have a typical evolution style. What does this mean then for a partner Gigasmon? It's not a spirit. This is being used as a conventional Digimon, so will it warp to Ancient Volcamon, slide to Grottemon or Grumblemon, or will it get a brand new evolution just for Gigasmon? I don't know, truly. This also is a little bit disappointing when you think of Ludomon, because this is Ludomon's first outing really as a partner Digimon, and is its anime debut. Ludomon, if you aren't familiar, actually kind of got snubbed a little bit in Digimon Story Time Stranger, because its line and the Zubamon line eventually converge into Ragnar Lordmon. It also is another Digimon that famously is covered up, and we have seen the undercover version of, this weird little naked creature. And I say another because obviously we have the whole Peltless Gabumon thing, but also recently we got art of Chiropmon that showed it without its hood on, and it's just a little naked bat. Weird. They really emphasize the shield of Ludomon in the episode, and I actually love how we see Granite wearing Ludomon like a backpack, and that specific form, that hidden Mickey looking form, has already been seen in Digimon artwork before. For the Digimon profile on Legend Arms Digimon, they showed this art of Ludomon, like I say, in this kind of hidden Mickey looking form that we also saw in Beatbreak. I think the concern for Ludomon fans is that it's going to mean we're not going to see Ragnar Lordmon. Again, people have been hoping to see this in video games and anime for forever, but it might also mean that we don't see Tia Ludomon or Raiji Ludomon either. While I do think Raiji Ludomon is likely, because obviously its name is Raiji Ludomon, inherently kind of Japanese, I do wonder if they're going to do an evolution which strips the armor and evolves the creature underneath, which would be something different and dedicated for Ludomon, but I can understand being disappointing for Ludomon fans. For me, my biggest hope is that Monodramon, Shakomon, Ludomon, and Gigasmon all get full evolution lines in this season. I think it would make a ton of sense. We know this is the Tactics arc, and we're going to get episodes where, you know, all of the Beatbreak main characters now have champions, or in Kyo's case, an ultimate, so they're going to digivolve, and then in turn, the Tactics team are going to digivolve to kind of match them. So bare minimum, next episode, we're going to see Monodramon's new champion. Future Karn here. I didn't realize this until channel artist Soru pointed it out, but in the preview, it actually looks like we might be looking at 2 evolutions for the Tactics team. I assume TAMERS in this preview was kind of a monster of the week. However, it would make a lot of sense given that it appears in the same part of the mirror dimension as the new Monodramon evolution, that means that Shakomon just digivolves to Tylomon. I think indicating that either we're going to get a mix of evolutions for these guys, or it's just Monodramon that gets 1 or maybe more new evolutions. Tylomon is also historically an Armor Digimon, and while this isn't Armor Digivolution, it's conventional Digivolution, it's kind of fun to see that happen. That's some Adventure Zero 2 reference in the evolutions now. Would be kind of insane, as I've talked about before, if this Tylomon, theoretically digivolving from Shakomon, then digivolved into the brand new Sharkmon from Digimon Story Time Stranger. Keep that synergy going. However, what that means for Ludomon, I don't know, and it is still possible that Gigasmon doesn't digivolve at all, it just kind of matches Kyo's Murasamemon. And then I think over the course of the next 10 or so episodes that make up this arc, and Ludomon's new champion, and maybe a new evolution for Gigasmon. Also, it might be the case that these guys never go to the Mega level. If they are threats which eventually join the side of our cleaners, the Glowing Dawn, which is what I suspect happens, I think the World Union, who are talking about this kind of like utopian plan to fix the world and get rid of Digimon, after finally revealing to us, the audience, that there was a cataclysmic event that happened to coastal cities 20 years ago. We suspected this, but we haven't really seen anyone in the universe acknowledge it. It's just a fact of life. I do think the 5 stars and Chairman Wong are obviously our villains for this season, but there's gonna be defectors. I think Kaito is not gonna stay a bad guy, whereas Genjo is gonna become an uber bad guy. But the Tactics team feel more in between. I don't think you create these really vibrant, interesting characters and place them in the way they've placed them. They're almost showing them like secondary or rival protagonists rather than antagonists, if that makes sense. It's like they could be their own season of Digimon anime, they just happen to be showing up in someone else's season, which is why I also think they're likely to get their own evolutions. And if it's true that Digimon Beatbreak is going to be 49 episodes with 4 Kurs, and this is the second Kur, that kind of makes sense. The Tactics team being our opponents for champion level fights. Now that the entirety of Glowing Dawn have champions, the Tactics team are going to face them with champion level Digimon. But as you notice, the 5 stars all have ultimate level Digimon, not Megas, giving them room to evolve up 1 stage or fight them as ultimates when the Glowing Dawn achieve ultimate stage. Whether the 5 stars will then be the final villains of the 4th arc, the 4th Kur, or whether we're going to get a new digital threat or something else, Chairman Wong's partner maybe, as Mega levels, I don't know, but it does lend credence to the idea that maybe at least initially the Tactics Digimon won't get Megas, though I hope they will eventually. It's just really fascinating to me that they've specifically picked 4 different types of Digimon really. Monodramon, very iconic from Tamers, even though it doesn't appear a ton in Tamers, but its evolution line does. Syakomon, a more old school Digimon that showed up very prominently in Digimon Survive. Ludomon, a very underrepresented Digimon that is really mostly known through V-Pets. And Gigasmon, a frontier spirit. It's like they're trying to take something from each major element of the franchise almost, apart from like no adventure references, etc. So that's why I also suspect that they're likely to get new evolutions. Another thing that I found really funny in this episode is that we had Bomber-Nanimon show up again, which again is a reference to Digimon Savers or Digimon Data Squad, because Bomber-Nanimon had a prominent episode in that season too, but this is really going to represent the difference between the era of Data Squad being dubbed and released in America versus how anime is released now, because back then Disney censored Bomber-Nanimon attacking a theme park to be CITRAMON, a fun orange guy throwing oranges, which isn't as bad even though they were basically orange bombs. I heavily doubt that Crunchyroll and Toei are going to repaint Bomber-Nanimon again, because in this instance obviously Disney is not involved and he's like not attacking anywhere that's intrinsically related to kids or anything. It's a mall, which is pretty bad I guess, but also the character is very comedic, so I don't think we're going to see this guy change to CITRAMON in the dub version of Beatbreak, which is currently airing, but my god, it would be funny. I'm really hoping there's like a little line somewhere that they sneak in about citrus or oranges or something, but probably not. And the final thing I want to talk about in the ED of Digimon Beatbreak is just lovely to see. In a blink and you'll miss it moment, Terriermon Assistant pops out in the background. Of course, Terriermon Assistant has kind of become the mascot for Digimon's overarching brand. It's the host of Terriermon Assistant Lab on YouTube. It showed up in Digimon Ghost Game. I'm kind of hoping Terriermon Assistant plays a role in this show too. That'd be really cool. And again, have that fun brand synergy between the anime, video games, etc. and also web shows, YouTube, our sphere. That would be cool. But that's everything for my update on Digimon Beatbreak this week. If you want a breakdown of the episodes, I would always recommend going to check out my boy Corey at the DigiKnow, who's doing batch episode reviews. This year, instead of trying to do big videos, I think in the past we haven't had a ton of news, so I felt like I've had to cram everything into one video because each of them couldn't really have a video by itself. However, at least for the foreseeable, I feel like Beatbreak can have its own video, Time Stranger can have its own video, and I'll just kind of prioritize by most exciting or most insane news. So when we get a week like Digimon Con, for example, historically I would do a big Digimon Con breakdown. It would be a much longer video and people would be searching around for the thing they're most interested in. So if there's enough news this year to justify one thing getting its own dedicated video, I'm going to do that, but publish more videos. However, if there was a week where we got little snippets of news for each thing that I couldn't justify talking about for more than a couple of minutes each, those might just get a combined video. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year once again. Thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14, Chaotic Prophet, Jeremy Babineau, and Lupus Lichlord over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and my YouTube channel members here on YouTube for holding it down. I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye-bye.